and welcome to another California Guy video with your boy California Guy. What's up, everybody, and welcome to this video. It's entitled, well, it's a few titles I'm talking about. Why Black Lives Matter and Coons, what's it? Coons and, I forgot shit. Sorry, people, because I am doing this video and I'm unloading my notes, so forgive me, people, because I was reading off my notes. Oh, yeah, Coon conservatism. So, I'll come back at you guys with this all new video, and we're gonna break down a lot of shit today about coons and Black Lives Matter. Now, earlier today, I was on the one name LA's radio show, LA Real Gang Radio, which you guys could check out. And when I was on the show, there was another YouTuber by the name of Hollow Point Redux, and he did a video, and the video was about Black Lives Matters and why it don't matter. Now, he broke down a few points on the show and in his video, but I'm here to kind of address some of the points that he said, and I'm gonna address some stuff that Penn had said also with conservatism. With Coons and what's the word that he said? Constructive criticism. It's kind of both, so it's kind of a even split. Now, here's my thing about Black Lives Matter. One thing that I agree, only one point I agree with some of the critics of Black Lives Matter. Does it have white money? Yes, it does have white money. That's fact. That's out there. It has white money. With them having white Caucasian money, they tend to be what's the words? The money. We need money. Money makes the world go round and round. Whether it's white, money doesn't have a color on it. So black people are benefiting from stuff that white people or rich black people or Asians have donated to. So, with that being said, Black Lives Matters is funded by white money because there's not enough black people out there to put money into causes, even though you have a lot of wealthy black people that will put the money into other causes. So that's one. I just had to get that part out the way. Now, let me break down these different arguments that's being said about Black Lives Matters. Number one, Black Lives Matters. Black Lives Matters was started because of police brutality and the murder of innocent black men in the United States. That's why the organization was formed. Black Lives Matters was put out there. The term Black Lives Matters meant Black Lives Matter because you have people that's supposed to serve and protect of different communities across the United States. And that's what the police department is there for, to serve and protect. Now, Black Lives Matter is sort of transformed into more of an advocacy group like MoveOn.org. Some things I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, like I think they put on their website about gay agendas. I don't agree with that part. But at the end of the day, Black Lives Matter is for the protest of black African Americans being killed by police officers and white vigilantes in the United States. The guy Hollow Points Redux pointed out how it was a failure, and he mentioned about abortions, black abortions in the United States. He mentioned things such as the black on black violence in Chicago and all across the U.S. Now, you have organizations in this country that targeted black violence. The black critics in the United States have made it a point, mainly Coons, to say, oh, well, why don't you target black on black violence? Let me tell you something. I'm an activist myself. I consider myself a black activist. I'm a liberal black activist, actually. And I have been in the forefront of black violence for about 17 years. I got videos that I've removed and taken down talking about black on black violence. Black on black violence is a problem in the United States. That's fact. It is a problem. But at the end of the day, you have people out there that was trying to solve the problems. When we was targeting black on black violence, The same people that's criticizing Black Move On dot I mean not Move On Black Lives Matters was not nowhere to be found talking about black on black violence. They didn't go out into the streets. They didn't talk to ex gang members. They didn't talk to ex drug dealers. They didn't try to get these brothers awakened from the violence in the black community. They do nothing. They didn't do a motherfucking thing, but still in their ass and criticized us for talking to these black people on the streets about getting them off of drugs and everything else. You have black churches that's done this, which the young brother was very naive when he said that, you know, the black churches are bad, when black churches have went out there and targeted the young at-risk black Americans that's in the violent communities. That's fact. Now, okay, that's one point. Now, the second point is that's not Black Lives Matter to do everything. Nobody said they were going to be saints. That's a fairly new organization. But until you go and do the research and talk to black activists against gun control, which Black Lives Matter has talked about this. See, I didn't get a chance to say this on LA's Real Game Radio, but I wanted to point out to Hollow Point that they have talked about black violence. Black Lives Matter has been with Barack Obama and other politicians to have gun control in the United States. They've done that. That was the whole point of Black Lives Matter, was gun violence, not just police violence. So that's a fact that needs to be debunked. Second, Donald Trump. You say in your video, Donald Trump is not racist. When Donald Trump has been inflaming racial code words ever since 2008. It's fact. Ever since Obama won the presidency, he has made it a point to cater to racist white people and saying that he is not an American citizen. He was saying he was some African foreign citizen of the United States, that he was non-black, is what Donald Trump has been saying. That's why Donald Trump is on the rise of power right now. That's why he's having these different states and he's winning these different constituents in the United States, because Donald Trump is embracing their fears. Young brother, you need to not look at the surface of everything. Don't look at the fact. Now, I do agree with one thing. He has been talking about Hispanics, Muslims, and Asians. Yes, he has done that, but he has talked about black people through code words. So we must not get that twisted. That's why the Republican Party came out against Donald Trump when he embraced the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan, if anybody wants to know, was killers of black people ever since 1865, ever since the Reconstruction period. Not 1865, I'm sorry, at the end of the Civil War. They were products of the Civil War and slavery, and the Confederate South is the reason why the Ku Klux Klan existed, was to drive the black men out of power. And this man has embraced it, and that's why the white community, the Republican Party, targeted Donald Trump in the first place, and they threw him under the bus. That's why they got multi-million-dollar campaigns going on in Florida right now in different swing states to take Donald Trump down because of his racist rhetoric towards African Americans and other constituencies. So black people, let's not get this twisted and start supporting a known racist and say that you don't have a problem with this white bastard that is sitting up here targeting the African American people. But I digress, because my anger with black people is very naive. You need to not look at the trends, what's going on YouTube and on social media. You need to look beyond that. You need to look at stuff as a whole and how it impacts your community and your life. We need to stop doing this. Everything is not trendy on black YouTube. You need to look at world politics and do deep research on these individuals before saying, I don't care. That's number one. That's why Black Lives Matter is attacking Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has been embracing the police department. He has been co-signing the cops that's been killing black people in the black community. That's why people have attacked Donald Trump. Now, let's talk about the black abortion rate. Black Lives Matter, they have in this country, again, you have pro-life black organizations that target Planned Parenthood. I know because I used to sit on the board of Planned Parenthood. I sat on the board for 5 years. So I know who is the primary targets of Planned Parenthood. So they already had different African American churches and pro-life churches that has attacked Planned Parenthood for 2 to 3 decades. So again, Black Lives Matter doesn't really need to go after Planned Parenthood when Planned Parenthood has been a target of multiple black pro-life organizations. Now, let me tell you about the numbers of black abortions. The number of black abortions have dropped in the black community. You have more white people that's getting abortions than black people. There's so many black children out there, it's not funny. In fact, you got out of wedlock black children. That is fact. You have more out of wedlock black children. Now, Hollow Point, what do you think about the out of wedlock black children that's in the black community? And black on black marriage. So each of these things that you talked about in your video, these social problems, are into separate groups, and it has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. Yes, it's your opinion, but to try to group all of the stuff up when they have different organizations that you have not looked into that targeted the black community is very false and naive. So I don't really agree with what you were saying in the video. Yeah, only point that I kind of agree with you on is maybe the Hispanics being targeted by Donald Trump. But after that point, Donald Trump still hates black people. And you're saying, well, let me see the evidence. You say you don't support Donald Trump, but then you're talking as if you're a Donald Trump supporter. Now, let me move on to the second half of the video. And that's to Pinhead's video and being called a coon and constructive. Now, I, myself again, am a black activist. I've been doing it for 17 to 18 years. I am a pro-black. I consider myself pro-black. I've talked about black issues for about almost 20 years. I've been a blogger before I even came to Black YouTube. And I could tell you, many pro-blacks have been very critical of the black community for 20 years, and we be critical so that we could be better than what we already are. We could be the best people that we could be in this country. We're kings and queens, and I myself have encouraged black women and black men to get married. I myself, in my videos and my blogs, have trashed Empire because they embrace a gay factor in the black community. Gay stuff, which I am very much against in the black community. I think it's a disgusting thing to be talked about when black people are kings and queens and